The following story is an account of one of the most deadly bear attacks of all time. A killer bear on a multi-day rampage in a small village in Japan, killing multiple people including children. This story is so horrifying it was even made into a full-length film. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the terrifying story of the Sankebetsu grizzly bear attacks. Welcome to Final Affliction. Whether you think bears are cute, funny, or scary, it's generally agreed that they should be avoided. Usually, bears will only attack humans if they are scared or threatened. This alone should encourage people to leave the animal alone. However, if they choose not to, they are unlikely to survive the tale, as brown bears are 20 more times dangerous than their black subspecies, and 4 times more than the polar bear. Knowing this, it makes our topic for today even scarier. We'll be looking at one of the worst bear attacks ever recorded, which left 7 people dead and 3 more injured in a terrifying rampage that lasted 5 days. The Usuri subspecies of brown bear is found on the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido. These bears are particularly feared in Japan as they are very large and well known to attack humans, having killed over 200 people in the last century alone. All of these attacks were usually isolated and only 1 or 2 people would die. However, one bear named Kasagake, meaning wind shadow, would change this forever. In the winter of 1915 in Sankebetsu, the animal was first spotted. Measuring at nearly 9 meters tall and 340 kilograms or over 700 pounds, this bear was a truly terrifying size. He had woken up early from hibernation and was now starving, so approached a family farm. Although he scared the Akita family that lived there, he was only interested in their corn that they were growing in the field. And when their horse started making noise due to its panic, the bear was scared off. A few days later, the bear came back. This time, the family wanted to make sure that it didn't return, and so the head of the family arranged for his second son, Kamitaro, and 2 local hunters to be ready for when the bear came back. When he then reappeared for the 3rd time, 10 days later, they shot at him several times, but Kasagake was only injured and retreated into the forest. The men tracked him into the forest, following the bloodstains that he had left behind in the snow, but soon conditions became too treacherous and they had to give up their search. They came to the conclusion that he would not return as he had been taught to associate humans with pain, and so he would be too scared to return. Unfortunately, they were wrong. On December 9th, 1915, Kasagake completed his first kill, the Oda family. That morning, the wife of the house, Abe Mayu, was inside babysitting her friend's young baby, Hasumi Mikio, while her husband tended to the farm nearby. The pair were inside the house, unaware of the danger and simply going about the morning routine of caring for a small child. At 10:30 a.m., the bear arrived at the home of the Ota family. He suddenly attacked the baby, killing him instantly with a savage bite to the head. Mayu was screaming. She hoped that her husband would hear her and save her from this massive animal and do something to scare it away. She ran for the door, but Kasagake was blocking it and knocked her to the ground, dragging her out of the house and into the forest to finish her off. Unfortunately, no one came to save her, and she was killed by the bear. When her husband returned from the farm, he collapsed. The farmhouse was covered in pools of blood and the body of Mikio was still in the middle of the room. He was devastated that his wife was gone. He had no hope of her survival against the bear. No one had any hope against such an animal. The next day, 30 men entered the forest to hunt down the bear and recover what was left of Mayu's body. They didn't have to search for long. 150 meters into the forest, they saw a large shadowy figure in front of them and knew it was the culprit. 5 of the 30 men began shooting at the bear, but only one was able to hit him. Although this enraged the bear, it retreated into the forest and didn't attack the men. Feeling accomplished, they continued with their journey into the forest and began following bloodstains that they found in the snow. This led them to the dismembered body of Abe Mayu. She had been mostly devoured by the animal, and so only her head and legs remained. Her body had been partially buried in the snow so that it could be preserved for the bear to return to later on. It was truly a horrific sight to see. That evening, the bear returned to the Oda family home once again. But although the villagers shot at him once again, he escaped unhurt. After hearing about the attacks and hearing the shots within the forest, the women and the children of the village had begun to panic. They all sought refuge at the house of Miyuki Yazutaro and gathered together while only one guardsman was stationed outside to protect them. That night, Miyuki Yazutaro's wife, Yayo, was preparing a meal with some of the other women while carrying her son, Yumikichi, on her back. She heard rustling behind her, and before she even had time to turn, Kasegake smashed through the window, sending glass flying everywhere. As the cooking pot was pushed over, the fire was quenched and the oil lamps went off, plunging the house into darkness. All that could be heard was the screams of the women and children as they panicked, running to try to find an exit in the dark. Yayo tried to escape but was tripped by one of the younger sons who was clinging to her legs in fear, begging her to save him. The bear proceeded to attack them both, clawing at them with his enormous paws. The house guard, Oda, was hidden behind some furniture, but while the bear attacked Yayo and her children, he was spotted. Kasegake quickly turned his attention to the man, and as he tried to flee through the front door, the bear quickly swiped him and scratched deep marks into his back as he fled. This interaction gave Yayo and her children enough time to escape, and they ran from the house, screaming for the other guardsmen to help them. Blood was now covering every corner of the house as the screams of the injured and dying filled the air. Kasegake then attacked and killed 2 more young boys before turning his attention to Take Ishiguro, who was heavily pregnant at the time. She was cornered by the huge animal and knew she had no chance of escape. She pleaded with the animal to not hurt her unborn child or touch her belly, and to only eat her head. She was quickly attacked, killed, and eaten by the bear, and although the fetus was found alive in her body, it soon died also. In 2 days, 6 people had now died at the hands or paws of Kasegake. The guards had now returned to the cottage, led by a very badly injured Yayo. Although it was dark, they could hear sounds of the attack from within the house, so it was proposed that they would simply burn the house down as they would surely kill the man-eater. Yayo was convinced that the children inside were still alive and fought against the guards, forbidding them from burning it down. The guards split into 2 groups and surrounded the hut, but the bear had already left the scene, leaving a path of death and destruction behind him. As the injured were taken to a safe house, Miyuki Yazutaro sought for a solution. He had lost 2 children and his wife, and was gravely hurt as well, so he was desperate to rid the bear that was terrorizing the town. He had heard of an expert bear hunter who was close by and went to find him. Yamamoto Haikichi is thought to have killed over 300 bears in his lifetime and was somewhat of a local legend. Surprisingly, he already knew of the bear Kasegake. Many years ago, there had been a similar attack which had killed 3 women in the past, and this bear was also thought to be Kasegake. After hearing the full extent of the most recent attack and how helpless the villagers were, he finally agreed to join them and kill the bear once and for all. The next few days were spent with several different teams trying to find and kill the bear. He had ransacked the locals' food and damaged 8 houses by now, and the situation was becoming desperate. The men even used the corpse of Mayu to attract the bear, which angered many members of the village as they believed the plan was disrespectful to the dead. Regional police had now heard about the attack and sent a sniper team to kill Kasegake, but they couldn't find him either. Finally, 5 days after the first sighting of the bear, he was finally shot and killed by Yamamoto Heikichi with one shot to the heart and another to the head. The rampage was finally over. Sadly, this event caused the destruction of the village. Although Yeo survived, her young son died years later of his injuries, and due to the horrific events that unfolded, people began to leave to find somewhere else to settle instead. Eventually, they all abandoned the area, leaving it to the bears and the ghosts of the past. There is now a shrine to pray for the dead villagers called the Bear Harm Cenotaph, and the story of Kasegake has passed into legend as people remember the man-eating bear of Japan. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. This is Final Affliction.